Growing up, I was exposed to a lot of horror media. My dad is a fan of anything from John Carpenter's The Thing to Nosferatu, A Symphony of Horror. My mom is more of a fan of slasher movies. I find the overwhelming majority of slasher movies to be cheesy and dumb, and while that seems to be a selling point for a lot of people, it's not my thing personally. I became desensitized to a lot of the ideas and imagery in these movies, so they became not so scary to me. But when I was about 11 and getting more privy to the internet and YouTube, which was still pretty early in its life at the time, around 2007 and 8, I started coming across stuff that would scratch that itch for a feeling of dread that I was chasing that I could no longer get from your run-of-the-mill horror or thriller movie. Whether it be short films or YouTube user-generated content, here are just some of the videos that I found unsettling growing up. I came across the username 666 video at this time, and the sheer amount of imagery presented in that video triggered my fight or flight, especially the jump scare at the end with the hand reaching out and grabbing the edge of the video player before it cuts to color bars. It was my first exposure to grotesque horror with more surrealist tones, I guess you could say. The Cat with Hands is a British horror short film written, directed, and animated by Robert Morgan, which utilizes both live-action and stop-motion animation. An old man and his younger silent companion make their way to a well to fetch a couple buckets of water. During this, the old man tells his companion a folk tale that just happened to take place where they were standing. Right here. The story goes that a young boy came to the well to fetch a pail of water when he came across a cute little kitty chilling out in the water pail. When the cat emerges from the bucket, it's revealed that it has human hands instead of the normal front paws of a felis catus. The cat catches a crow in its human digits and makes quick work of it with its unhinged jaw. Now, if I were that boy, this event would be enough to send me beating the hastiest of retreats out of there, but nope. He approaches the cat and begins to pet it. Wrong move, kiddo. The boy now no longer has a face, and the front of his head is completely smooth. The cat now wears the boy's face and begins to devour what's left of old Slender Boy here. Back in the present, the old man wraps up the story saying the cat continued taking different body parts from other people until it looked indistinguishable from normal human flesh and blood. But there's just one problem. He's missing a voice and a tongue. Then the old man gets devoured as well. The end. I came across this short film when I was maybe 12 or 13, and I don't know, there's just something about old folktale sort of stuff that gets to me more than your traditional horror. Another one I came across in the late 2000s was a short film by the name Dollface. Dollface is a 2005 short film by Andrew Huang and features a robotic jack-in-the-box type machine with a plain, stark white human face that discovers a television displaying a similar looking visage with makeup on. The machine begins to mimic the face of the television, only for the TV to begin backing away until the machine can't keep up anymore, tethered to its box. It's a harboring and disturbing metaphor for how we hold our standards of beauty to what we see on TV or even these days on social media. You're okay how you are, you don't need to mimic what you see on Instagram or TikTok, and pursuing what you think you want in misplaced self-esteem will only lead you down a dark path, chasing someone you are not your whole life until you're ruined and destroyed, your individuality stripped from you. Basically, in a day of mewing streaks and looks maxing, do we really need to do all that? I also fondly remember Crooked Rot. A lot of you were probably exposed to David Firth through Salad Fingers, but I had my first exposure to his work through this stop-motion nightmare of a short film, Crooked Rot. It's a surrealist short film about mannequin heads intertwining in a hellish ambiance. The imagery is damn trippy and grisly, and I can't help but love it now, despite it triggering severe fight or flight when I was like 11 or 12. Stop motion animation always intrigued me a lot, and if you combine that with my love of surreal horror, then this is the perfect storm in my opinion. Now, this is my wild card of the video. It's not a KafeJake video without a good old wild card, am I right? Am I right? When I was about 11, I saw this fan-made sequel to Luxo Jr. It's this short film from Pixar about the lamps. Yeah, someone made a little bit of a fan-made sequel called Luxo Jr. 2: The Reckoning. At this point in time, my naive brain didn't know if this was like something Pixar made, never released, and someone leaked it, since besides some kind of stiff-looking animation, it looks pretty authentic, especially the resolution this video is presented in. I mean, sheesh. But after looking it up not long after I first saw it, I realized that it's fan-made and people just can make something that looks pretty close to a Pixar creation. It was created in 2007 for a website named sharkfantastic.com, and according to the Wayback Machine, this website belonged to creative director and animator Brian Schutzman. The website is no longer available, and I wasn't able to find anything else about Brian. No portfolio, no other works, nothing like that, which is kind of unfortunate because this animation was actually kind of decent, not gonna lie. I remembered this animation during the creation of this video and just wanted to include it because while it's not disturbing, but I mean the beach ball does nearly choke the life out of the child lamp, but it's not a disturbing animation, just unnerving to kid me at the time despite its goofiness and campiness. I guess you could say it ruined my childhood a little bit, but I guess it is what it is. We all have our childhoods ruined at some point in some way or another. Plus, I haven't seen anyone else talk about this short film, so I decided to throw this one onto the table. I was an early viewer of the Agamemnon Counterpart video, and to say this video scared the shit right out of me straight into my pants would be understatement of the year. The weird, confusing backstory already throws you astray, saying that
in the year 2571, a video cassette tape was found in a pile of rubble on the ruins of a certain blue planet. What you're about to witness will not be the contents of the aforementioned cassette. This is an entirely different recording.
You're already like, oh, what the fuck? And of course, the certain blue planet is Earth. Why it's in ruins could either be an asteroid, or it could be a WALL-E type situation where mankind kind of self-destructs and takes Earth with it. Then it assaults you with degraded video, warped animations, weird colors, and violent screaming. Nowadays, it's just garbage visuals with what sounds like a random dude getting a job from someone wearing the psych ward grippy socks, and I don't know how to feel about that. Either way, it cemented itself as a bizarre video on the weird side of YouTube from its early days. It was created in 2001 by artists Jason Kovac and Michael Ronson for an art competition called Destination Imagination. The original video was posted in 2006, but has since been taken down by the original uploader. The latest upload is from either 2013 or 2015, far past when I first viewed it, but you can check it out if for whatever reason you haven't heard of it already. It's also a funny little analogy, indirect or not, about how kids are being given more and more this brain rot, and who's to say that this won't be an unironic certain future for content for our children given the content farm BS we have today. There's something for your brain to chew on. Now we're headed into the creepypasta generation, which I am very much a part of. I can't say the S word on YouTube because of unfair censorship with monetization and all that, so I'll just say I first discovered Mouse.avi in early 2010 when I was like 13. I was looking around for updates on the video game Epic Mickey, which was to be released later in the year. I've yet to play it still, but I've always wanted to. Anyway, I stumbled across a video in my search called Mouse Unseen Freaky Footage by Neck1. Not the original upload, but it was an equally popular mirror of the video at the time. When I clicked on the video, I immediately paused and looked at the description for the backstory, which was the whole original creepypasta pasted into the description. What I read in this wall of text gave me 3 changes of pants in a row while reading it, and I distinctly remember my hands slightly trembling when I went back up to hit play on the video. For the rest of the day, I couldn't stop thinking about this video and especially its backstory. I had trouble sleeping that night. I actually think I got scared enough that my ass went out to the living room with the TV on and slept there. I remember trying to rationalize to myself that, if this were real, the media would have had a heyday with it, Disney would be in some hot water, it'd be a PR disaster if this ever got out, and it's true, because when the media and news stations smell blood in the water, they're gonna come from all directions. And by the next day, I was fine, and after Googling it, I figured out that it's a somewhat novel, at the time, genre of internet stories called creepypastas, and it's all indeed 110% fake baloney cockamamie bullshit, so that was enough to quell my fears. But today, it's plain as day to see that it's not an actual Walt Disney cartoon, but there are some remakes out there that have gotten somewhat close.